this in the environment, but they act like it's nothing. And for me, I've learned to realize that I appreciate people who's on the path of healing because that's life. Life is a path of healing because we all go through traumas, some worse than others, but at the same time, healing is a journey. And even though I'm at this point in my life where I'm much better than I was in the past, I'm still on the healing journey, and we're all there.
For the rest of our lives, let's hope that we're on a healing journey.
Absolutely.
And another thing about the traumas of our past is that they actually become our superpowers. You know, if we really confront the traumas from our past, those are then the very things that can help us talk to somebody else that are in that position that we were in, and we can bring them healing sooner. You know, so it's a lot to be thankful for once you get over the forgiving process, forgiving yourself, forgiving the ones involved, and moving forward. So
that's what I was gonna say. My therapist always says that you can't heal until you forgive yourself. Like that's what healing starts from, forgiving yourself for all the things that may have happened to you that was caused by other people. It's not about forgiving other people, but forgiving yourself, and that's what starts the process.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's one of the major misconceptions because everybody used to talk about forgive others, forgive everybody. Not everybody's deserving of forgiveness. You have to forgive yourself from being a part of that because oftentimes when you forgive others, then you're saying it's okay for what they did. It is not. And sometimes people, and if they're not being held accountable, or their society not holding them accountable, or people around them not holding them accountable, then no need to forgive them. But what you need to do is forgive you and realize it's not your fault, but this situation happened. You have to find a pain for your purpose.
You're right on that because going back to love it, I no longer, I talk about it. I was in a marriage that was emotionally abusive, not physically abusive, emotionally abusive. And people like, Baby and Buddha know me. I'm the extrovert. I'm the life of everything. I'm so out there. But at a point in my marriage, I was depressed. I attempted suicide. I was in a psych place for 2 weeks. I forgot about what living was about because I lost who I was. And so when you are free now, you realize that that shit that made you go there is now your superpower.
Yes.
I talk about it. I'm open with my life. I live my life out loud and don't give a fuck what anybody thinks anymore because of where I've been and that self-healing, that therapy, that need to talk to someone and say, this is my responsibility of what I did. Forgiveness, right? Forgive yourself for what the fuck you did. But at the same time, this is my experience and it made me who I am. And so I had to get out of that relationship, find myself again with the me that married him that then lost me in it, in order to now turn around and talk to somebody and say, this, and that, like you're better than this. You're able to talk to someone because you've been there. So Velvet, I agree with you. Yvonne, I agree with you. There's things that it makes us who we are and gives us our ability, but forgiveness, it doesn't mean I forgive you for the shit you did to me. Yes, you fucked up, but I forgive myself as well for allowing this to take place, even though I had no control at the time. I had no control.
Yes, and if I could just say something real quick to it, you said, and what you said, Dr. Love, is that you said you really not forgiving the other person, you're forgiving yourself. But what I would like to add to that is you should be forgiving the other person. And let me tell you why. It's because if somebody hurt you, it's because they were hurt. And hurt people. And people that know better typically do better. Like, I don't have any relationship with my mother, but I've forgiven her for being the, not just terrible mother that she was, and how that I was able to do that was to just say, she doesn't know better. Even now in her age, she still doesn't know better. And so I forgive her. I see her as a little girl, wounded, never got healing, and I have to put up barriers to protect my heart from break. But I forgive you. I forgave my rapist almost immediately. I realized the red flags I ignored. I forgave myself, and I move on with my life. You're out of my life. This will never happen again. Thank you for those lessons. But you know, you have to forgive. I know that it sounds so stupid, but you have to realize hurt people hurt people.
Here's the thing. I respect you. I respect what you're saying. It's not that you're completely wrong. I look at it as this. There's a space between me hating you and me forgiving you. And I believe that space you can live within, where you don't forgive them, but you don't have animosity against them. You don't have this ill will towards them. You accept what happened, you accept the situation, but you're not saying, no, I forgive you, because you recognize that even though, and I agree with you, hurt people. And there are things that people do that has done that's hurt people. But also realize there are people who see their situation and see what they did to you and felt that they were right to do what they did for you. And in my personal opinion, I don't feel I need to forgive them, but I don't need to have animosity towards them because they don't hold no power in my life. They don't hold no power in my moves. So
but if you don't forgive them, that holds on to you. That's your power. Because they went on with their life and they continue on how happy they are. But if you don't forgive them and forget, or not forget, but if you don't forgive them, they have that power. They still dragging you down because you still got your emotional tie. They can move on with their life.
I disagree.
Right. Just a moment, Javone.
So here's my thing, and here's what I always tell people. I don't forgive people who don't apologize. That doesn't mean I hold a grudge. That means I just don't forgive you. Meaning that you can't come back to me like it's all good anymore. We still got that issue, and that issue stands. I just don't have that grudge with you. So
you can forgive them and still be in that same exact position.
Exactly.
You can forgive them and still have that same position.
How do you forgive that? Forgiving that in some instances means that I can do this to you over and over again.
No. Most people that I have forgiven in my life cannot even say hello to me because I have put up a boundary so high that I have said to them, I forgive you, and sometimes I love you, but what you won't ever do is be able to hurt me again, reach out to me again. You can't even borrow $1. You can't even get no ice water from me, but I forgive you and I love you.
Can I at least
So just to bring some level ground to this, I tend to be more, especially when I'm coaching and counseling, I like to bring logic into situations. And so, Dr. Love, I heard you say that there's a fine line between forgiveness and hatred, but honestly, it's black and white, because the opposite of forgiveness is not hatred, it's unforgiveness. Okay, and when I say that, I mean that when you say you don't have to forgive a person, but you're not walking around with resentment or hatred towards a person, but that is the definition of forgiveness. When you have released that hatred, when you have released those negative feelings towards that person or situation that may have caused you harm, that is forgiveness.
All right, here's a perfect example that I want to use. I'm going off point. It's like respecting and disrespect. Those are two opposites. Now, there's a space where I don't respect you, but I'm not disrespecting you, but I'm not showing you respect. That's the same way with forgiveness. It's not to say I don't forgive you, but it's not to say I forgive you. I just stay in a neutral place where I'm not picking either sides. And I believe that when there's polarity, when there's one point or the opposite, there's always a middle ground where you can find harmony in. And I believe that there's harmony in everything. Now, I could get where some people will say, yeah, I forgive you to release me. For me, I don't need, I release myself because I accept what it is. I accepted who you are for who you are. I accepted me for who I am. I forgave me. I feel like that's all I need to be at peace. I don't need to tell this person, oh, I forgive you, or even say I love you or this and that. Because I have love for everybody.
But that's not the definition of forgiveness.
Well,
You don't have to love someone to forgive them. You don't have to tell them that you forgive them to forgive them. But once within yourself, you have released that
forgiving
negative
somebody means to
energy.
absolve them from all
That
the
is
wrong
an act.
So you don't, I don't absolve my rapist from raping.
but
No,
that's
I
what forgiveness
forgave
is.
him because no.
He did that.
Forgiveness is just a simple act of releasing.
Yes. It's not
I'm
about
gonna
absolving
agree with
or none of that.
And that's why you will hear people say time and time again that forgiveness is for you.
Yes.
Not for the next person. You are actually performing the act of releasing.
Absolutely.
Negative
So
energy.
for my,
Once you perform that act, you have forgiven.
for my Gemini, for my Gemini brother, I'm gonna have to say this.
And I get where you're going. And I
No, for my Gemini brother, I'm gonna have to say this.
That kind of nullifies that point.
Hold on.
For my Gemini brother, I'm gonna have to say this. That is your natural trait, is to stride the fence on both sides. So you got to choose a side. I know it's hard, but you cannot be, I forgive you, I don't forgive you. I know it's our natural trait to be on that fence and be like, oh, we're gonna sit here, we're gonna be on love on both sides. But no,
So,
you got to decide.
Hold on.
Listen, I respect where that comes from. I respect.
I'm trying to tell y'all how to get healed out here. Trust us.
I'm feeling you. So I'm feeling you. So Don and Dr. Love and Brian, let me see. We all, as men, and most, we deal in absolution. We deal in this is what it is, this is what it ain't, right? But what we're learning is, as we grow older, everything is situational. That's where that gray area comes. You know what I'm saying? Because I've said, I'm not gonna put up with this shit, right? You said it, you said it. Everybody said, well, they ain't gonna put up with it. Then they get in a situation, then they have to change their mind because of whatever variables have came into existence, right? So we can't say what's absolute in certain situations because of where we at. I've been learning to deal, I was an absolution for sure. I'm learning to deal in the gray area because now I have children or kids or stepkids that are doing things that I didn't necessarily would have to do. Now I got to learn where they're at. And that's what gives me that gray area that I have to look into and say, you know what? People do live there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So as we talk about forgiveness, doesn't mean you have to forget.
All right. Go ahead. I really appreciate everybody's input on this. I just don't want to go too far away from the topic. All right. However, yes, forgiving is, especially under the circumstances of the purpose of the nature of why forgiveness came into conversation at all. Obviously, everybody have their individual perspectives. The definition is not going to change. And even if you do forgive yourself or the oppressor, whatever, you don't forget things. So the main thing is, to wrap that piece up, whether you forgive or not, even if you don't forget it, don't take that into your next relationship or situationship because of what happened. Now, granted, if it is extreme and it's a traumatic situation, obviously, what we got Velvet home circumstance, and she has here goes bringing it back. She has chosen to identify herself as being asexual as a direct result of her experiences, which that was one of the topics that we talked about with one of the bullets with regards to sexuality. So her experience kind of navigated her journey into, she already had a pre-existing lifestyle. Okay. However, now, while she is healing from her traumatic experience, she is choosing to identify herself as asexual. As we mentioned earlier, it's basically omitting sex without removing the attraction. Okay, no gender specific is involved with that particular identification, sexual identification. So everything we talked about tonight was, this thing is big, it is huge. And I just saw today, there's like 46 terms that's utilized with regards to sexual behavior or orientation. That was just on, I think, dope.live.com or something like that. One of the, plethora of places you can research information. And it just, the platform of identification and what you can identify as, just the information, it was a lot. It was extremely overwhelming. And it just goes to show that you can identify however you choose or not. And no matter what you identify, you have preferences, even within the individualized identification range. So, if it makes another person comfortable or not, I don't want to say selfishly, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, you have to come to that realization of what you're comfortable with. Obviously, if this is what you identify with, transgender, transsexual, bisexual, heterosexual, asexual, and all the sapiosexual. Just saying. Those were not that we didn't talk about, and that's an attraction to intelligence.
All right, and that's not gender specific either. So there's so many things that has come about, and we are in 2020. All right, and these are things that has been forming over our life and before our life. And so, does it make you less man, less woman? Does it mean, do you have to be in a box? If you choose to, be great. If you choose not, there's nothing wrong with your preference and your attractions. You can like whatever you like. You can be whatever you want to be. However, always know that there's potential consequences and repercussions. Even though you are being comfortable, you are choosing this, you are in your truth. But if you're going to be in your truth, what needs to most absolute definitely take place is you have a sense of discernment, because it's a volatile situation. If you are representing yourself, you are identifying as one thing, but yet the person that you are dating or whatever doesn't know the true identity. Okay, you want to be mindful of that, but I would always encourage you, love who you love, because that's what love is. But at the same time, we have to understand that there are repercussions, and it's no differently than a heterosexual relationship. It can be volatile with a man and a woman,
so you already
born
know
that way. So you've emptied it up by having this illusion of you being something and you're not. That's all it is. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be loved and that you don't deserve it. You shouldn't receive it. You shouldn't be abused, beat, any of those things. You shouldn't be pushed away, set aside, because you are at the end of the day a human being and you should be treated accordingly. Right? So that was part 2. We have Bryant. Tell us real quick about your book.
Yeah.
That you have.
Please.
A book. God, we're trying to get on topic here, but yeah.
We ain't on topic, we wrapping it up.
All right, so I'm an author. For those that don't know, I have a series of books. Actually, I have 3 books, but I only bought 2 here. It's a fiction novel. I don't know if you see it clearly.
Probably not.
Yeah, now you probably can't, but the name of the book is a very provocative name. It is entitled Dear Women I Haven't Slept With. It is a fiction novel based loosely off of the life of me and my friends and all the wild things we did in the 2000s.
Well, shit, you got it.
Nice.
But what makes the book different from other books? It's a relationship book, but it's from a male perspective. So you get a lot of books where you see what men do, but this book is more third person. So the characters are actually explaining to you why they do what they do. You see what they do, but then they explain to you why they do what they do.
That's hot.
So it's a dope book, like especially for women. Women read it and be like, "Oh my God, I didn't know men think like that." We do.
All right.
Damn, they do.
For
That's
me,
what's up.
for me, I don't read. So he already got my teeth.
All right. So, first of all, last of all of the above, thank you so much for bearing with us. Unfortunately, this didn't go live, so I'm going to have to be very creative. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm hoping that I was able to get some of our conversation recorded. But I know I didn't get all of that juicy stuff, and because I had to go buy a mobile, I'm almost positive that I didn't get all of this recorded. I did not get all of this. I did not get all of this recorded.
I have it.
I'm telling you when I push the button. Okay, very good. So, because I know what I did. And so, nevertheless, this is our season finale. All right. Which,
It sucks.
it's all good because the show must go on. Thank you all for being so patient, in the beginning and just coming on week after week. I'm thinking we're probably going to have another segment of this topic at later on in our next season. And we definitely want to have come back and do what we did. And this time we won't have any technical difficulties, and we'll just run it back in different aspects, and we'll get a little bit creative with that, right?
One more thing. I want everybody to address themselves. Like, we have Toya, right?
Mm-hmm.
For those who don't know who she is, please, Toya, bless the congregation.
And I love the dog. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is King. This is my my man, my everything.
Yes.
But I am Toya. I am the owner and operator of Toys Toy Box. We are a sexual intelligence firm focusing on two things. They may seem very extreme and opposite, but we do focus on building the intelligence of our the sexual intelligence of our followers and listeners and viewers. But two of our specialties are helping people with sexual bereavement, dealing with sexual grief, and that doesn't just mean losing someone that you've been in a sexual relationship for a long time. It could be you've lost your libido or your sex drive simply because of a illness or something tragic or personal that has happened to you. And then we also specialize in teaching women how to squirt. And so why'd you look like that, Yvonne? Yes, we love the art of squirting.
That's a dream come true for me.
Yes, squirting is beautiful. It's an art, and we love to teach people how to do it. And so,
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
All
I'm not
right.
saying I'm against it. I'm not saying I'm against it. I guess I'm not a squirt.
but it's still squirting. Squirting is just the simple fact that you release fluids from your urethra during sexual pleasure.
You do very
So
important.
whether it's a rain or a gush or a shoot or however it is, I'm a gusher too. It's okay.
Okay.
All right, wait. What do you say, Velvet?
I said I fucking love it. Yes, sign me up. I want to squirt.
Yes.
Okay.
Squirting is an art. It's beautiful.
Okay. Dr. Love, please, bless.
My name, Javone, Dr. Love Jones. I just started a company called Gold Mine Transformation Company, which we focus on. I consider myself a level up coach, where I show people how to get to their next goals and their next level in life, based on where they at right now. Take you from one place to the other. I just wrote a book. Well, I wrote a book release. It's called Level Up: How to Start Living Your Best Life Now. So and the book is pretty much a self-help book showing people how to get to the next level, whether it's in your personal. I talk about self-love. I talk about learning your gifts. I talk about sexual energy. I talk about how you can use that to manifest. I talk about your money, building a legacy. So I talk on many different topics. And so pretty much what I do is show people how wherever you at in life, me, I was talking about a trauma situation. I was in special education from grade 1 to grade 12. To me, that's a superpower. Like, because I tell people now, if I can go from being special ed all through grade school to be able to write a book and become a professional speaker and an author, then anybody can be anything. Because I was at the lowest when it comes to education. And if I could get to where I'm at now, then anybody could get to wherever you're at, whether it's financial, whether it's your career. If you're at the bottom, you get to wherever you decide to go to.
Yeah.
All right, thank you,
Cool.
thank you.
Todd, Vaughn, let me know what you got going on. I know you got.
DJ Todd Love over there. So intro thing or whatever. But me, I don't even know where to start. You know, what do you want me to tell you? Married to this one, 9 years, and at number 3, 2.5 really, because I left half after 4 months because I'm gone. So with that, going back to the question earlier, you know, when we first started early in the marriage, Velvet, we were getting it every day, twice a day, before work, after work, everything. Now that we're 9 years in work, I'm menopausal, diabetic, I got all kinds of shit, right? I told you, baby, bedtime, because I'm in bed by 9 o'clock. So if he don't come for this by 9 o'clock, it's a wrap. Sorry. So you asked me how many times we're getting it in. Hey, I'm a weekend girl, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You might get it 2-3 times on Sunday. Monday to Thursday, don't fuck with me. I'm up in the morning to go to work. However, there's a progression to this shit. And we're talking about relationships. Listen, I've learned so much in this marriage than I have in the first 1.5. 1.5 marriages in my life. Baby, Buddha, they know us personally. And so there's a deeper level to our relationship. And that has really also built what we have as far as our relationship and how open we are, not only with each other, but with other people. We're an open book. And baby, the Buddha, the fact that y'all got us here at almost 10 o'clock at night, I love y'all, man. I love y'all. And it's a pleasure to meet y'all, you know, so now you know a little bit more about us. And yes, my love, yes, Toy. And Velvet, I wasn't playing.
Hey, Todd, I know you got going on, man. You're DJ. Let them know what you got going on. Let them know what you got going on, Todd.
I'm just me. I love. I DJ married for 9 years, as he said. Before marriage, I was a singer.
He was a whore.
Yeah, I was a whore. I was out there.
You
as far as relationships, ain't much I can't talk about. I've been with strippers. I've been with cold girls. My first poly relationship was with 2 girls. That's before I knew what poly was. But once I got married, I learned what it was, and I said, "Hey, I did that before." So I had that experience. You know, me and my wife, we had experiences early in the marriage. So you know, there's a lot of stuff as far as relationships I can talk on. I don't really get too deep as far as that's concerned when it comes to topics on Facebook and stuff like that. When it comes to forums like this, I'm a little bit more open with it. If we're in person, I'll even be a little bit more open. But yeah, I play music. I like to talk shit and have fun.
Right. So you got the Rhythm League? Is that what it is?
What's that?
Rhythm League.
Oh, the Rhythm League. I have a nonprofit called Rhythm League that we're.
There you go. That's where I'm at.
We're in the process of building ourselves and finding our niche as far as what we're going to do, as far as what causes that we're going to attach ourselves to. We got a few things going on as far as myself, my partner. There's some things that we got in the pot that we're trying to brew. So if you got any ideas as far as nonprofits and you want to work with us, we're open for that. You can reach me on Facebook and on Instagram if you want to reach out. I'm open to anything.
All right.
And Vegan Fun is a hell of a cook, okay? Just letting you know, I cook really good and I can feed people.
Shy.
Shut up.
Velvet, hit me up. Let them know what you do, man. I know you got a couple businesses, Velvet. Talk to us.
Actually, I don't have much of a social media presence. Yes, I have companies. I have like a global real estate software company, and I have a few local service-based companies in many cities. But honestly, mostly I'm retired. I retired in 2015 after a 21 military intelligence career. So I'm very lonely. I am writing a book at the moment, but right now I'm low key, but I'm building my brand. So here in the next month or two, I'm gonna be back on the media circuit, and then maybe I'll come back and share links and things. But right now I'm just very low key. I have like a little Facebook, but I'm not doing much on it.
That's okay.
It's all right.
Dawn, where you at?
I'm proud of y'all and I support y'all, and I'm gonna be checking out these links. So yes, continue with the Black excellence out here.
Yes. Where you at, Dawn?
That's the chef.
Yeah,
That's a whole chef.
Aspiring chef.
Aspiring chef. I tell my family I am not opening up in a restaurant because I am not doing.
You sure?
You gotta be interested in doing some personal catering.
No, I'm doing it for my personal enjoyment. My personal, that's about it. Because I do not certainly want to be doing it for no money or in any. I don't want that headache. So.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like to eat.
Huh?
I like to eat.
Yeah, me too.
Well, if y'all stay in contact, I like to have company. I like to see people eat my good food. So.
I know. I want to try that maple butter rum ice cream, something that was you had.
Oh,
maple butter pecan ice cream. That was so good. Next time I need to have more bourbon in it.
Hey, if you can put together some vegan dishes, I'm good to come.
All right. Okay. Buddha gonna drop this here song for me. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna try my best to figure it out. But again, we weren't live. We weren't live, but and I really like the way we did this, because it kind of gave us opportunities to kind of say some things, and just be open about our conversation, and we'll probably do more of these type of sessions again, just outside of what our normal routine of our lives, just so that we can have this interaction and bring in a panel of people. We talked about it before, but COVID happened, and so now we need to revisit utilizing all of the available resources. Zoom is one. Unfortunately, it just wasn't cooperating. It was cooperating, but it just wasn't cooperating at on a
Facebook level.
using the dark web or whatever they call it. So, nevertheless, we really do appreciate you all. It's a great day to be great, and I'm ready.
I love you, baby.
He loves me.
Much love to all of y'all. Much love. For me, it's
So she requested this.
Really? Vanity 6? Wow.